Hello, thank you for coming to the Lake County Film Festival Q&A. This is for the 2021 virtual edition, and I'm very excited to have Mye here to talk about her film Cat Daddies. Hello. Hey, happy birthday.
Hi.
You have
Thank you.
a fantastic cat hat too. And you can see two of my cats in the background.
I do. I have
And
one around here wreaking havoc. You'll see her in a minute.
I am a cat daddy. I see someone, at least one person watching on social media. Please drop your questions in the comments for Mye, and we will ask them right here. So how's it going, Mye?
Good. Here's one. Here's one kitty who wants to be
Hi,
part of things.
kitty. Little
You're
grooming
not.
time.
You're not looking where you should. They never want to look at the camera. What are you doing?
Mine are going a little nuts over here because they're not usually allowed in this room. Especially because there's some, expensive computer equipment, and so I usually kick them out of here. So they're over there messing with all the stuff that they couldn't mess with before. Oh, Archie, here you go, Archie. Here, go ahead. All right, here. Never mind. Well, let's see. This is Wanda.
Aww.
Well, I guess I'll jump in and not just play with cats the whole time. And dogs.
Aww.
Come here. Oh, that's Buster.
Aww. Buster.
Buster. Yeah. Oh, you're all right. You're all right. So I have to start at the beginning. Where did you get the idea to start this film? Actually, I was thinking about how I feel like Cat Daddies is those are cat treats. Get away. Come over here. Over here. I feel like Cat Daddies, and maybe this is more towards getting towards the editing phase, goes along with movies that I always think of along with Fast, Cheap, and Out of Control that cover a lot of different stories and then just cut between them, although only 4 in that. But also, I think we mentioned last year's We Don't Deserve Dogs. Obviously it's pretty prevalent. But I feel like the one real difference that you have is that David is such a large part of the film, whereas most of those kind of chop it up equally. So did this film start with David, or did it start somewhere else and then you found David?
Yeah, no, David was actually last. I actually had in 2019 when I started the project, I had 8 to 10 men in mind, and I had it all figured out. I wasn't really sure what the story was going to be. I figured like we'd figure it out later how they were going to go together in what order, or whether it was going to cut back and forth similar to Fast, Cheap, and Out of Control. Or if it was going to be more of like vignettes, more like We Don't Deserve Dogs. But then the pandemic happened halfway through we were filming. I think we only had a few cat dads left. Some of them were actually out of the country. The pandemic changed everything. And before that, I had a tip about David. So somebody who actually was an early supporter of the film that I didn't know. She kind of like told me that she was helping this man in New York for a couple of years. He seems like, he'd be a good fit for the film. Would I be interested in connecting with him? And I said, once I read more about his story, I just thought, well, this guy sounds like the epitome of a cat dad. Like, how could we not include him, even though his story is so much more serious and dramatic than kind of the rest of the stories. It just felt like we couldn't say no. I mean, and also once you meet him, he's so charming. He's so inspiring to me that we just couldn't not have them, and we couldn't not want to help them. And we were hoping that this movie could help them somehow. And so with the pandemic kind of changing the schedule and everything that was going on that year, it kind of opened up more room to kind of spend more time with David. So instead of pursuing some of the other men, we just kept flying back to New York and trying to get his story. Obviously, there were a lot of issues that year and trying to fly back to New York, but we did a lot of things creatively to get it done, and that sometimes included sending our DP Rob Bennett out and going solo and just kind of one-man band it and do everything while I was on the phone in LA asking questions and trying to make sure we got all the shots we needed.
Well, I definitely had talking about the cinematography on my list because it is such a great style. But I do want to dig a little bit more into where you got the idea for Cat Daddies. You know, when, you know, what was the first thing that said, I need to make a movie about this?
So it was actually, it took me about a year to kind of have the guts to embark on this. I already know what it takes to make indie features, and I already know kind of all the pitfalls. And so I knew that I had to be really sure that this was going to keep my interest, and that that other people cared about this too. And every time I talked to someone about it, they really sparked to the idea. And it was really trendy and exciting at that time. There were a lot of hashtags and a lot of like celebrity cat dads that were coming out. And so it just sort of seemed like there was like a trend on the internet for, you know, for stories like this. And so, I finally decided to just kind of go for it, because I figure like if I love seeing images and videos of men with their cats and seeing their relationships. There's just something like that sparks like joy in me to see like so much tenderness between men and cats. And maybe that's because my upbringing, and I had a very, very strict, very like military type dad, and I never really saw like a softer side of him, or very rarely. And so like when I see that, it sparks something in me. And also along the way, one day my husband, when we were dating, he was actually not a cat guy at all. Like no interest really whatsoever in animals. And one day a cat found him, and it really surprised me because I thought I knew him. And it just really surprised me to see them become best buds and have this like instant bond. And it was just really, really sweet. And it made me think that like there must be so many men out there who, because they're conditioned to love dogs, that they don't know that they could like a cat. And so that's kind of what spawned this. I just thought that maybe if we see more images like this, a lot of those stereotypes can change. And also, the way other people who don't understand the way they could, with the way they treat, men and women, who are cat people. So that's kind of where it all came from. I hope it encourages more pet adoption, but and also like destigmatizes a lot of things about cats.
And trap, neuter, return. I mean, you really got a lot of great stuff going on. Do you have any insight onto where that stereotype came from? I don't know if you did any digging. Why? Like, why are cats considered effeminate?
There've been so many theories, and a lot of it is just, a lot of it comes from like, Halloween, and like also like witches and cats, and there's just like this kind of negative stigma. And then the stereotype of the crazy cat lady is just so strong that it's just hard to to break through that. But I actually have a personal theory, and that is that there's a lot of misunderstanding about cats because we don't see them all the time. We don't see them like just in their native environment at home. We see dogs all the time, right? In the park, on the street,
Because they're indoor
movies, television. We see dogs all the time. They're a little bit easier to train, right? And so they can be cast in movies. And I just think that the relationship with cats is just hard to be seen. It's very private, right? And cats are a little more skittish around the camera or around strangers. And so I think people who don't own cats, they just don't know, right? They don't know that they can be just as affectionate and loyal as dogs. And so I think that's just like men just don't ever have that exposure. And then also on top of that, it takes a very special person to love a cat. Like I don't think every man can. I mean, it takes a very special man because they have to be more gentle, more patient, right? They have to earn the trust and love of the cat. They aren't just going to come to you immediately like a dog, right? So it does take a lot of work, and I just don't know that everybody's up for that kind of work,
Well, not to get into too much into gender roles, but they don't pay attention and they break everything and are destructive. Maybe some men just don't want the competition,
Yeah.
What were the first stories that came to you? How did the stories come to you? And are there any good stories that you did cut or maybe didn't explore that might sound interesting?
So believe it or not, everyone that we interviewed made the cut. I kind of very carefully pre-auditioned everyone through Instagram or social media because, and that's where I found most of the guys. I'd say, except for David in New York, most of the guys I found on Instagram. You just put in hashtags like Cat Dads or Men with Cats, and then you'll just, I mean, it's endless. I mean, the number of men who put themselves up on social media, it just goes on and on. Oh my gosh.
I want to show you here. This guy's Loki, and
Loki. That's a really popular cat name lately.
He's polydactyl.
Oh,
I love polydactyl. Extra toe on every foot.
That is so cute. Does that mean they get into extra trouble?
Well, that's what we were thinking. That's what one of the meanings behind his name. And when we watched it last night, the kids obviously pointed out that there's a Loki in the movie. I see we're getting up there in viewers. Please drop your questions in the comments.
Yeah, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about my movie Cat Daddies, which you can see. Sorry. And my cat is sitting with us. And of course, turning away from the camera.
Oh, jeez.
And it also happens to be my birthday, so that is why we have a cake here, which I might dig into while we're talking. But to finish answering your question, most of the men were found on Instagram, and it's great because you can kind of like see where they live geographically. You can kind of see what occupation they do. So it was really important for me to diversify everyone. I wanted everyone to look different. I want everyone to be from a different area. I want their cats to look different. That's important too. And all of their cats have to be social enough that they are going to be comfortable in front of a crew. So that a lot of that you can tell on social media. So it's kind of like, it's a little bit of stalking, but it's research, right?
Were there any kind of interesting stories that you just didn't end up traveling to, for whatever oddball reasons that didn't work out?
Yeah, we were supposed to go to Denmark to meet with Monty and Molly Happiness, who are very, very big time social media celebrities. And then that didn't work out because of lockdown. And then there were a couple of others. I won't say specifically, but we were in competition, I guess, with other productions.
Wow.
And we kind of lost someone because of that. And then what else? I mean, I really did want to go more international, but I'm just gonna have to save it for a later day. But I'm happy with who we have, and
Cat Daddies too.
yeah,
I was just especially, I was thinking about that firehouse, and I was thinking about where else there might have been some other kind of interesting places, you know, that.
Oh, there's so many. But you know, another thing I learned is that I reached out to a lot of men who just either didn't respond at all or didn't want to be on film.
Sure.
So there are a lot of people who just want to keep their privacy, understandably, and so there was a lot of that too.
Okay, last question about the origins. How much you have a really gentle hand in talking about the politics of the situation. You know, you really are exploring these stories more than the politics. Was that purposeful? Was that part of your philosophy, is to sort of slide those politics of this whole idea that men can't be with cats, or can't have cats, or can't love cats? Was that part of your philosophy, to kind of keep it a little more mellow and just show some good stories?
Yeah, I mean, which politics are you mainly? Are you talking about the gender politics? Or?
Yeah, I think that's, you know, I mean, I think it's wrapped up in toxic masculinity, which becomes political, socio-political. I mean, everything's political now, even though it's really more social political. But
no, that was definitely in the front of my mind going into this. But things changed along the way. Once you start, we were like shooting a little, and then, you know, we get footage and we edit. So kind of over the course of the year, stretching on a lot longer than I anticipated because of the pandemic, there was just a lot of editing along the way. So the movie was just shaping itself a little differently because of all the things that happened. And so it then turned into less about the gender roles and more about the benefits of cats for men, whether it's to help men cope in their occupation and to relieve stress, or maybe they're an outlet for creativity that they didn't know they had.
Or just fun. Like,
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I think we just sort of leaned into that direction, especially with David's situation, and then with the pandemic happening. And then, you know, there was like this boom of adoptions during the pandemic. It just made more sense to sort of lean into that a little more. And as we were actually testing rough cuts with people, that was the material they were more interested in. Like, they like the fun stuff, and they like, you know, talking about masculinity, but then what really got them was like the heart of the story, which a lot of that was David and Lucky.
David says happy birthday in the comments up on Facebook. Hi, David.
Is that David Giovanni?
Yes, it is.
Also, the star of the movie is watching from New York. Thanks,
yeah,
David.
That's great. David, if you're still watching, let us know how you're doing today. You know, this always what I find with documentaries that are really personable is the first thing you want to know is, okay, what happened since then? You know, so let us know.
And the great thing about this and social media is that I'm always posting updates about David on our social media, so that everyone can you know, keep in touch and follow along, because obviously his story is still going. I
used cat treats to get them down here, and now
that's like all they want.
I wish I.
Aww.
They're all just like, give us more treats.
David Giovanni really loves seeing other people's cats, so I think this is great.
That's awesome. Okay, so let me talk to you just a little bit about the shooting. It is so, I'm not even sure if I know the right words for it, but you know, Cat Daddies is so interestingly cinematically all the time. It's so clear. You have such great motion shots. Yeah, what I mean, I guess hype your DP and tell us if there were any ideas or philosophies about shooting everyone. Oh
Yeah.
God. Because I think it's one of the things that really sets it apart from a lot of independent documentaries, especially that I see.
Thanks. That was really important to me. We really made this movie for the big screen, so we wanted to make it as cinematic as possible. Of course, all of this was before the pandemic, but our goal was really get this in theaters. I'm the type of person that I like to consume my content in the theater, not so much on my iPad or at home. So I needed to make this as beautiful as possible, and that's pretty much what I said to my DP when I hired him, Rob Bennett again, and he understood. He understood that I wanted to sort of, in a way, we're kind of immortalizing these cats. I mean, there's tons of cats, right, on YouTube videos, but I can only watch so much of that. Like the resolution is just so bad. I'm just
vertically. It's
yeah,
got water on the sides. You know what? I think
I was like, let's shoot these cats in 4K and go CinemaScope. Let's go all the way, and make it a cinematic experience. And
a lot of close-ups, and I realized it's not that I was comparing it to movies. It was about comparing it to other cats that I see. And yeah, I see them on YouTube all the time. Pet Collective, shout out to Pet Collective. But yeah, they look horrible.
Yeah, and we weren't really using any fancy equipment or anything. A lot of people ask about the camera, and we were shooting on Blackmagic.
Lighting, mostly a lot of natural, or
mostly natural, but there were some, there's like some lights. Not much, because we didn't want to stress the cats out.
Sure.
So the little gear we could come in with, the better, or completely natural. And that's why we're shooting outside a lot. That was really helpful to get a few cats that were, okay with being outside or being on a leash. And that way, we just use the natural sun to light them, and it worked out. I mean, Rob's a genius, and he made it look good, and I have to hand it to him.
David says thank you. He feels a little better, and he's happy to meet me and to see you, and that he misses you very much, and that he loves my cats. I have one. Oh, this giant guy is Archie.
Oh boy.
Huge. I used to have a Maine Coon, but Archie is heavier than the Maine Coon.
Well, how heavy is he?
I don't know. 18, maybe 20.
Oh yeah, he beats my cat. I think my cat's at 15. Actually, honey, can you bring Creamsicle? My husband's the cat wrangler, and he's gonna bring in Creamsicle. A second.
And a knife. You need a knife.
Oh, I have it.
Oh, okay.
I'm prepared.
All right. Well, let's check this out.
While he's bringing Creamsicle, I will cut the cake here.
So, have you gotten to see it on the big screen a couple times?
Yes, I'm so happy. I am so thrilled. Oh, here's what it looks like.
Holy moly! That looks great.
There's like blueberries inside.
Wow.
Okay. Let's see. Let's bring Creamsicle. So Creamsicle kind of looks like your cat, but has more white. Oh, here's the boy. Here's the boy. Oh my gosh. So I really wanted to be the first live stream with the most cats, and
I should have gotten the two ferrets too. This is Woody, which we named because we found him in the hollow of a tree.
Oh, that's a great name then. Aw. And did your kids have some questions?
No, not really.
Oh. What do they think? Is it appropriate for kids?
They loved it. Oh yeah, no, they watch all sorts of stuff. My son just turned 10, and I made him put together his list of 10 favorite films, and you know, like half of them are R-rated. You know, they're, you know, they can handle Cat Daddies for sure. If they can
great.
watch Terminator 2, they can watch Cat Daddies.
Oh, great.
Yeah, no, they liked it a lot. She was especially very interested in David's story. You know, it was
Oh,
like
wow, great.
when you cut away, it was like, what happened to him? You know, like, she was like worried. I mean, she's a very empathetic person, so she just wanted to make sure. She was like, when there's that part in there, and he's like, oh, he might have to have his arm amputated. She was definitely like worried, and when he showed up again without, and she was like, oh wait, I thought he was gonna, and I was like, no, they don't have to, so that's good.
Yeah, we're very glad. That was a very stressful year for all of us, and we're very worried about him. So I'm so glad that he's still kicking, he's still out there, and we still get to talk to him, and we still get to share our successes with him. I had a really great screening where I sat behind a girl who was maybe 10 or 12, and it was so great. She was like giggling the whole way through. I just thought that was so wonderful.
Oh,
She
that's
just
cool.
had a blast.
She loves animals, so it was right up her alley. They like the guinea pig movie too, which they actually helped program all the shorts in front of as well. I think you were. Did you watch that program?
I'm gonna check it out. No, I'm waiting this weekend. I can check it out.
Yeah, great. So what's next for Cat Daddies?
So we have 3 screenings we're trying to fill in Austin next weekend. The weekend after Thanksgiving in Austin.
That's the animal one?
Yeah, it's called Animalis Fabula, and it is a weekend of all animal films. It's like perfect for you and me, right?
Check that out.
So
is it virtual or?
Huh? No, it's all in person.
Yeah.
And they have indoor and outdoor events. So they have a lot of free, like family-friendly outdoor events, which is great. And then they have ticketed events. They're showing the conservation game. They're showing a bunch of other things, a bunch of shorts. I got to jury some of the short films. But we got 3 screenings there, which is amazing. So hopefully people find out about it and come out. You know, it's a nice thing to do with the family, right? After you've had your turkey. So it should be fun. I'm excited. I love Austin. I'm a Texas native. I'm from Dallas, Texas. So I love going back to Texas and having barbecue and just being with good people.
And what festival were you involved in?
So I started the Asian Film Festival of Dallas, and then I also have curated for the San Diego Asian Film Festival. Yeah, so I've been involved quite a bit of my life and all that.
Cool. I definitely have to check out some of these films. You know, when I'm able to, I'll have to try and solicit some of them. Do you have any distribution thoughts or plans for Cat Daddies? Are you talking to anyone?
Yeah, I mean, we're in talks with some sales agencies. We should be making decisions soon, but the most important thing to me was to try to at least save some hope for a theatrical. So, you know, I think if we can't find something that will take it out in theaters, we might be doing it ourselves. But I'm excited by the feedback. I'm excited by the turnouts, and I think that we could pull something off. I think it's a really special movie, and it appeals to all ages, and all kinds of people. So I'm kind of using film festivals as kind of a test, and so far to test the waters, and so far it's been very positive experience for me, and I think we'll keep going with it.
I've been seeing more and more filmmakers sell off their digital rights but retain theatrical rights, which usually just means poking around film festivals and things like that, but I've seen that happen a lot. So with films I've shown. So and
I think
that'll be an option.
A lot of interest from overseas too. So I think I think by next year it'll be available everywhere somehow to everyone. So
what's next for you? Do you have another film in mind, or?
you know, I'm producing and editing on a lot of other projects right now, but I think for me, as far as directing, I actually think I want, if I direct again, I think I want to stick with documentary. I really love it. I actually don't know why I didn't do this earlier. I don't know why I didn't go into documentary work earlier. I have no idea, because I'm always watching documentaries, and instead I was more dabbling in the narrative, and I think I will still be involved with the narrative, like on a producing standpoint, but I enjoy directing, like having the smaller kind of crew, not having to manage so many people, and I really enjoyed it until the pandemic. I really enjoyed making this. And then things got a little more stressful, but now that it's done and it's out, it's been a lot of fun, and I'm back to like enjoying the process again, and now we're just trying to get it out there. So I want to see what doors this may open for me. I wouldn't mind doing this again in, like, say, another country or culture. You know, I really, really wanted to do something in Japan, like doing Cat Daddies in Japan, but it just wasn't going to work out budget wise or time wise. But, you know, I can really imagine something like a Cat Daddies Japan, or like a Cat Daddies UK, or something like that. I would love to do that, or really anything. You know, I would love to keep.
Cat Daddies International.
Yeah, or just I would love to elevate this genre, because like one of the things that inspired me was like I was kind of there when Jiro Dreams of Sushi like broke out, and I had programmed that in a festival, and I feel like ever since that movie we just started seeing more and more like culinary documentaries. And so it kind of like has become a genre of its own, and I don't see why we can't do that with cats or animals. It doesn't always have to be like Animal Planet. I mean, people think,
Sure, yeah.
you know, I've been trying to get this movie out there, and a lot of people think this is so niche. Like, this is so, you know, only a small group of people are going to be interested in this, or, you know, this is nice. Maybe it'll play on Animal Planet or something. And it's just like, I just think that like we can do better than that. I think we can, you know, we can use animals to tell stories, and I think Cat Daddy shows that, you know, we made a movie about cats, but it's about so much more, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
and I think I think in the end, what really grabs me about the film is that, which I didn't intend from the beginning, but it really kind of shows that like we're all in the struggle together, men and animals, you know, and cats especially. Like we really, you know, a lot of like cats and men, like we need each other. We need to help each other out.
I don't know if you saw this, but Kenji Tsukamoto wants to know
Hi Kenji.
where you got that cake.
So this cake my husband got it's from Tous Les Jours, which is it's from the little Tokyo area, but I think it's like a Korean bakery. But anyway, their cakes are really good. They're one of my favorites. I will probably take a bite of it now. This one's it's called a blueberry, like a blueberry yogurt, and I haven't had this flavor, so this is all new for me. So yeah, here you go. Wow, that's interesting. So imagine a birthday cake, but it's got a blueberry yogurt flavor.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So it's not too sweet.
Well, I have to say, you definitely inspired me, and I've been thinking more and more about my own animal documentary, about raccoon rehabbers, domesticators, maybe some wild stuff. Yeah, I looked at just even last night, just at the quality and setup that you did, and it's really inspiring. So hopefully I can follow in your footsteps.
Well, you know, what's really helped is technology, and we couldn't have done this 10 years ago, but the cameras now are there. They're small, they're light. My DP Rob had to literally crawl around on the ground, and it was like he was shooting war photography or something. Like he's on his stomach almost all day, just following the cats and trying to do little tricks and whistles to get them to look where they need to look, and the gear, the equipment that we have now, and the technology is just, it's amazing how good it can look and how affordable it can be. And now I think with the new iPhones, I think we're going to see more of animal content, because it's so much easier now and it looks good.
Yeah, even we watched Tiny World. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah.
Apple Plus, but yeah, those cameras are insane.
And I think he did that a lot of that or all of that during the pandemic. So it was just kind of the perfect project, right? Because you can't be around a lot of other people. So he'd shoot, I don't know if he's shooting the animals in green screen or something, but it was kind of just all done in a studio is what I understand. So it's kind of like the perfect pandemic movie. So, I mean, it just goes to show, anything's possible, right?
Yeah.
I think the hardest part is really just for any filmmaker is just getting over that fear of failure, And also just you can't expect perfection too. You have to let go of perfection. I think that's a big part of it, because I definitely struggled through the creative process of this, because not everyone gets it, and it doesn't matter if you think your movie's has universal themes. People are gonna respond differently, and you just kind of have to have enough faith to just get something to the finish line, even if not everyone sees your vision or gets it, right?
Well, I definitely think you went beyond getting to the finish line.
Thank you.
Obviously. All right. Well, great. Thanks so much for joining me. I don't know if you had any other good stories or more cake to eat.
I'm just going to eat cake here with my cat. And here's she still hasn't turned to the camera. She was like, I'm over this. Stop doing interviews and pay attention to me.
Great. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us. It's a real pleasure to find out more about the film. And
thank you, Nat. I'm watching your kitties. I
keep seeing them. Yeah, move the
thing.
They
really think it's a play set or something for them. They're hiding behind it and attacking each other.
We finally got some people joining us. Joey O'Brien, loving all these cat cameos.
Hi, Joey. Oh, yeah, Joey's.
Oh, ow, careful.
There's Aki not wanting to look at us.
Oh. Sylvie here was feral for a couple months out on our patio, so she's still
getting used to indoor life.
Yes, and then cat number 6, I didn't even bother trying to bring him down because he just runs from everything. You're okay, Sylvie?
Oh, before we go, I'm going to try to get my husband and say hi. Honey, you want to say hi real quick? Right. Joey's watching.
Ow. My kids my daughter especially loved the white cat. I think it's Nathan's cat.
This is my husband, Dave, who inspired the movie and also produced and edited on it.
Great. Thanks for having us.
My pleasure. Absolutely.
David Giovanni is watching, and Kenji and Joey.
Hi, David. Hi, Kenji. Hi, Joey. All right, I'm going to
thank you for the cake.
Duck away.
Oh. There she is. There's your face.
And that's what I was saying yesterday. Sylvie kind of had similar colorings of the white and black and orange together.
Yeah, she's like a little more muted, huh?
Yeah, especially in the black. Her blacks are a little more mixed in. Yours is more solid.
Yeah.
All right, well, have a great rest of your birthday.
Thank you. You have a good Thanksgiving, and I'm gonna check out some films
film?
virtually, and
cool. Drop some questions for everybody.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks. Have a good night.